For years, Sam Heughan was known as the charming, composed, almost impossibly calm figure at the center of Outlander's global success. He handled fame with grace, dodged controversies with humor, and kept his private life sealed tighter than any Hollywood vault. But everything changed the moment he sat down for a new, unexpectedly raw interview and whispered, "There are things I should have said long ago." The room fell silent as the interviewer leaned in, realizing Sam had entered territory he had avoided for more than a decade. And just like that, fans all over the world sensed something monumental was about to unfold. Sam began by admitting that the pressure of fame had shaped him in ways few people understood. When Outlander first exploded internationally, he wasn't prepared for the intensity of audience attention or the emotional weight that came with portraying an iconic character like Jamie Fraser. He revealed that during the earliest seasons, he often felt overwhelmed but kept silent because he didn't want to appear ungrateful or weak. Those closest to him saw the emotional cost, but Sam chose to carry most of it alone. Now, for the first time, he allowed the world a glimpse into what he had endured. He explained that some of the secrets he held weren't just about himself, they involved protecting other people, including cast members, friends, and even fans. Sam described moments where he wanted to speak up about unfair criticism, online harassment, and personal attacks, but contractual obligations and studio politics tied his hands. He admitted that there were nights he couldn't sleep, knowing people believed false stories about him but unable to defend himself publicly. The emotional burden, he said, didn't just sit on his shoulders. It seeped into his daily life, into his work, into his mental and physical health. Hearing him acknowledge this vulnerability stunned the audience. Then Sam revealed the first truth he had hidden for years, that during the height of Outlander's popularity, he felt isolated in ways he could never express publicly. Despite being surrounded by millions of fans, he often felt like he had no safe space to share his struggles without being judged or misquoted. He described days when he would film emotionally demanding scenes while silently carrying the weight of personal battles no one knew about. Yet he kept going because he didn't want to disappoint people who loved the show. The quiet resilience behind his smile was finally coming into focus. As the interview deepened, Sam spoke about the darker side of sudden fame, the invasion of privacy, the fabricated stories, and the constant pressure to appear perfect. He mentioned that there were moments when rumors spiraled out of control, painting him as someone he didn't recognize. The hardest part, he admitted, was when those rumors affected people he cared about, people who never asked to be part of the spotlight. He had stayed silent to protect them, even when silence made him the target of criticism. Now, he confessed that remaining quiet had taken a toll he could no longer hide. One of the most shocking moments came when Sam admitted he often felt trapped between who he truly was and who the industry wanted him to be. Playing a strong, stoic character like Jamie Fraser created unrealistic expectations about his real self, and many fans blurred the line between actor and role. He revealed that producers once urged him to maintain a certain public image, discouraging him from sharing weaknesses or personal fears. The pressure to maintain that facade left him emotionally exhausted. Sharing this felt like tearing off a mask he had worn for far too long. But perhaps the most emotional section of the interview came when Sam hinted that some of the secrets involved people very close to him. People he wanted to shield from fan pressure, media speculation, and misinterpretations. He spoke about the difficulty of balancing loyalty with honesty, and how protecting certain individuals meant sacrificing parts of his own truth. Although he didn't name anyone directly, his tone shifted when the interviewer mentioned longtime co-star Katrina Balfe. Sam paused for several seconds, his expression heavy with unspoken history. That silence alone spoke louder than words. In the final moments of the interview, Sam revealed the real reason he had decided to speak now, because carrying years of silence had become heavier than the consequences of telling the truth. He wanted fans to finally understand the human behind the character, the struggle behind the smile, the pain behind the resilience. The interviewer asked gently, "Is this everything?" Sam shook his head slowly, a bittersweet smile crossing his face. "No," he said quietly. This is only the beginning." The world held its breath, knowing the next chapter would reveal the rest of the secrets Sam had been hiding for so many years. When Sam finally leaned back in his chair, the tension in the room grew thicker, as though everyone sensed the next revelations would cut even deeper. The interviewer asked what he meant when he said this was only the beginning, and Sam exhaled slowly, almost as if bracing himself. He explained that the biggest secrets he had hidden weren't about fame or the industry. They were about the emotional wounds he carried silently for years. He described moments of betrayal, disappointment, and vulnerability that he never allowed the public to see. With quiet intensity, he admitted that some of those wounds came from people within the entertainment world itself. Sam revealed that during Outlander's early seasons, he dealt with intense backlash and criticism that reached far beyond what fans ever saw online. He spoke about receiving invasive messages, personal threats, and relentless scrutiny that targeted not only him but those he cared about. He said he chose silence because speaking up might have worsened the situation or exposed others to unnecessary harm. This silence slowly became a shield he relied on even when it began to suffocate him. Now, he felt it was time to reclaim the parts of himself he had buried. One of the most surprising revelations involved how often Sam had been blamed for issues far outside his control. He explained that certain media outlets crafted narratives that cast him as the source of behind-the-scenes tension or fan conflicts, even when those stories were baseless. While he wanted to defend himself, he stayed quiet to avoid dragging others into the chaos. The result was years of misunderstood moments and emotional frustration that he carried alone. Hearing him acknowledge this truth left the room in stunned silence. The interviewer then gently asked whether these secrets had affected his relationships with colleagues or co-stars. Sam paused, choosing his words carefully, and admitted that protecting others had sometimes caused distance, confusion, and even conflict. He confessed that he often shielded people without telling them, which created misunderstandings he never corrected. He hinted that certain moments fans interpreted negatively had deeper contexts that no one outside the cast ever knew. Though he didn't name anyone, the weight of his expression left little doubt that these revelations touched the heart of his most meaningful connections. When the topic shifted toward Katrina Balfe, the energy in the room sharpened noticeably. Sam didn't deny that their friendship had been affected by the pressures surrounding them, especially at the height of Outlander's popularity. He acknowledged moments of stress, silence, and emotional overwhelm that neither of them spoke about publicly. However, he also revealed that the bond they shared was stronger than the rumors that tried to tear it apart. He described her as someone who understood the complexities of his world better than anyone else, even when misunderstandings clouded their path. Sam continued by admitting that one of the hardest secrets to keep was how deeply the expectations of fans weighed on him. Although he was grateful for the love and support, he struggled with the responsibility of living up to an idealized version of himself. He felt he was constantly balancing between being a public figure and a private human with fears, insecurities, and flaws. For years, he tried to hide moments of emotional exhaustion because he believed vulnerability might disappoint people. Sharing this now felt like unlocking a door he had kept locked for far too long. Another powerful confession came when Sam acknowledged the toll the relentless filming schedule had taken on his mental health. He described pushing through injuries, fatigue, and emotional burnout without letting anyone see the cracks. He said there were days he delivered intense, emotional performances even though inside he felt completely drained. Yet he kept going because he felt a responsibility to fans and the cast who depended on him. This was one of the truths he had buried the deepest, afraid it would be seen as weakness rather than resilience. As the interview neared its conclusion, Sam spoke about the turning point that made him break his silence. He said he realized that staying quiet had allowed misconceptions to grow and had prevented him from healing. Speaking now wasn't about exposing anyone, it was about reclaiming honesty, compassion, and clarity for himself. He wanted fans to understand that behind the strength they saw on screen was a man who had weathered storms quietly for far too long. Saying these words felt like letting go of a weight he had carried for years. In his final message, Sam looked directly into the camera with a rare mixture of relief and vulnerability. He thanked fans for their unwavering support, acknowledging that their love had been the anchor that kept him grounded through the hardest times. He said he hoped that sharing his truth would help others feel less alone in their own struggles and would open a new chapter built on honesty rather than silence. "I didn't speak before because I was afraid," he admitted softly. "But I'm not afraid anymore." And with that, Sam Heughan finally closed the chapter on secrets that had lived in the shadows for so many years, leaving the world wondering what revelations the future might still hold.